wires and stuff. No way. I walked through a big screen and now I'm in Superstar Daycare? No way this is real. That screen was there before I looked at the camera. I swear. I can't remove the mask. It's stuck to my head. How did I get over here? I can't get the mask off again.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Bonjonsie, and it seems you all missed something important in Ruin, so it's up to me to prove it. In this series of mine, spanning 10 episodes each, I'll not just reveal some interesting things in Ruin, but I'll prove its validity. And believe me, Ruin is hiding some interesting revelations about the lore and much, much more. In the last episode, I showed that Glitchtrap is in Ruin and revealed his new goal regarding the M.X.E.S network. However, we're not quite done with Glitchtrap just yet, as he's involved in another aspect of the DLC, the security mask. So let me disillusion the illusion of what a certain mask is doing in Ruin. After beating Ruin and going over its addition to the overall storyline of FNAF, there will be one puzzling question that stands out amidst the confusion of the story. How does Cassie do what she does while wearing the security mask in the AR world? The digital walls and using the mask to go through them suggest a simple explanation, but the daycare screen incident indicates otherwise, as Cassie's statement about it further confirms this.
No way. I walked through a big screen and now I'm in Superstar Daycare? No way this is real. That screen was there before I looked at the camera. I swear.
So, has FNAF introduced a mask that gives superpowers to the franchise? Nope. The key to understanding Cassie's mask-given abilities lies in the security mask and its purpose. As I mentioned last episode, Cassie was given the mask to be secured by the three antagonists, a mask that forcibly implants her head with an occipital transponder.
Ow! That hurt.
This is crucial to keep in mind while discussing anything that happens in Ruin, as Glitchtrap heavily manipulates Cassie's perception, particularly through the mask. But even after removing the mask, Cassie continues to see digital distortions, signifying that Glitchtrap could possibly continue to subtly influence her vision. However, not everything Cassie perceives is necessarily false. It just means that her, and in turn our, perception might not reflect the whole truth for most of Ruin. After thoroughly checking, I counted only 7 instances in the entire DLC where we can trust what Cassie sees as 100% accurate. These 7 reliable instances are the beginning of Ruin, the vent in the gondola ride through Monty's backstory, when M.X.E.S first turns on the AR inhibitor, the Bonnie Bowl arcade room before the inhibitor is deactivated, and the area next to that room. The first encounter with Proto Freddy, the stairs to the sinkhole until you reach M.X.E.S room, and everything after that point except for the Fredbear cutout leading to the Brazil ending. There's one more that could be on the list, but I'm a bit iffy about it because I don't see an AR inhibitor anywhere or a reason why you can't put on the mask. It's the area when we encounter Ruined Monty for the last time. But other than those 8, we should always be aware of what Cassie sees in the real world as possibly being influenced by Glitchtrap. This all stems from the fact that the AR inhibitors not only prevent Cassie from donning the mask, but they also disconnect her from the V.A.N.N.I network entirely, freeing her from any Glitchtrap's control or influence over his greatest asset against her, her eyes. How do I know all this exactly? Easy. It all comes back to the occipital transponder. The transponder is meant to integrate its host brain signals into the M.X.E.S network, specifically the brain's visual signal. This is what allows Cassie to see the AR world with and without the mask. But more than that, it also allows Glitchtrap and the Mimic to permanently track her as she moves through the ruined M.X.E.S, as long as she's connected to the Vanny network. This is where the AR inhibitors come in. They block the transponder signal to that network when turned on, and consequently block Glitchtrap's and the Mimic ability to track her accurately. It's why Glitchtrap says this once Cassie gets back onto the gondola ride to the maintenance room, and why the Mimic asks where she was when she got on the Monty Golf catwalks.
Cassie, where are you?
But knows that Cassie's getting closer when she arrives in the maintenance room after redirecting the gondola ride.
You did great. You're getting closer.
The AR inhibitors prevent the network from connecting to the transponder. However, that doesn't mean it blocks the network from connecting to the security mask. This is easily provable by the mask introduction, as Cassie can be in the AR world before she gets transplanted with a transponder, and also explains why Cassie can see the AR world when she's wearing the mask while an inhibitor is activated. This is how Helpie communicates with Cassie while an inhibitor is activated. It's through the mask's continuous connection to the Vanny network that Helpie and Glitchtrap can speak to Cassie through our transponder. When the AR inhibitors are on, Cassie is blocked from accessing the network, not the mask. Now that the information has been transplanted in our heads, let's look back and answer our tricky question. How does Cassie walk through digital walls and walk on digital objects? It's all in her head. We even get teased about this twice during the DLC through an infected and cheeky Helpie. With the transponder implant, Glitchtrap manipulates Cassie's perception of the world, all while gaslighting the poor girl when she questions anything with the half-truth. Those digital walls in the daycare monitor she goes through are not real. Every single digital object that Cassie physically interacts with is stationary or floating in space, because objects that don't affect or interact with their surroundings are easier to sell the illusion. After all, it's easy to break the immersion in a video game when objects are clearly clipping through things. The Fazbear Theater giant endoskeleton that Cassie climbs into is not real, as there is likely a vent behind the screen that she can access. Why do I say that? When you remove the mask after falling down the giant endo, look directly behind the one path where the trash bags are and the path to progress, and you'll see that the vent goes up steeply. Like a blind person falling down from it would think that they are stuck when there's only one path forward. How does she walk on digital objects that only appear in the AR world of Monty catwalks? It's all in her head. Those objects Cassie is walking/running on are what Glitchtrap wants her to see while she's moving high above ground. One slip, one single misstep, and it's game over for Cassie, and starting from scratch for the villains. It's better to be careful and make sure she can make it across the catwalks.
Be careful crossing the oily catwalks. Your mask may reveal new paths.
The security mask is meant to secure Cassie for the villain's use. With it on, Glitchtrap can manipulate her vision to think she's walking on a stable platform instead of a narrow catwalk or something even more narrow and unstable. As I noticed something interesting about the ropes in the real world of Monty catwalks. In the AR world, some of them completely vanish. So taking a closer look at where these disappearing ropes go in the real world, I saw that they actually go to the platforms of where Cassie ends up after walking across the digital objects in AR. Solidifying that he's watching and commentating on her in real time, Glitchtrap mentioned these wires to Cassie through another pause menu quote after she deactivates the first child node, hinting towards her and us that these are the paths Cassie takes to reach her objectives, which means that Glitchtrap shows Cassie much safer paths than what's actually there, so in reality, she can move calmly and not potentially fall while going over dangerous and lethal hazards. To my surprise, the cut content for Ruin strongly hints at this happening in the game too. Also, for clarification, I am not nor ever use cut content for evidence in my previous videos, but merely to suggest that the idea of it is still possible within the games. One thing about Cassie that was cut was her having vertigo and a severe fear of heights.
I'm stuck up here. How do I get down? I really hate heights. My vertigo.
This would have added to the Monty catwalk section, as Cassie would have absolutely struggled to move through it due to her acrophobia and vertigo. It would have also strongly hinted more to the mask tricking her vision to get her to move across the catwalks, and that Glitchtrap needed to do this or else Cassie wouldn't move due to her fear and vertigo. Regardless, this characterization of Cassie is gone from Ruin, but that doesn't mean that the deception of Glitchtrap and the mask is too. Glitchtrap may not directly affect the real world with this method, but he can influence the way Cassie interacts with it through what she sees in the AR world, as it's all in her head. But what about the teleporting? Out of everything that the mask allows Cassie to do, this looks to be the trickiest one to try and explain what Cassie's actually doing in the real world. But looks can be deceiving. To illuminate you all on what's going on, we're going to have to look deeper into the darkness.
Why can't I remove the mask? It's stuck to my head.
Isn't it weird how Cassie can be physically prevented from removing the mask? Doesn't it not go against what is established about how the occipital transponder works? If the transponder just affects the visual part of the brain, then why can't Cassie just physically take off the mask? This is where I reveal the most sinister and horrifying thing within Ruin. Something so subtly presented in the DLC that not many people picked up on it, even now. Because the transponder is not the reason why Cassie can't physically take it off. It's the security mask itself. The mask does more than just show the AR world. It allows Glitchtrap to control you. It's something that happens multiple times throughout Ruin without you and even Cassie realizing it, and becomes very clear once we take a closer look at the process of the teleportation. Looking at the first white digital gate we go through in the DLC, we can see that it's a straight line from where Cassie is standing to where her destination is. Now, logically, you would think that Cassie would just teleport from point A to point B, as that's the fastest way to clear a distance. But that's not what happens. Cassie appears on a new point C middle path that's a bit closer but further to the right, and has her facing point B diagonally, which you can tell by the Monte Golf sign. This disproves any notion you might have had about Glitchtrap just manipulating Cassie's vision, because she couldn't have walked straight from the digital gate and wound up facing that sign at an angle. Instead, implies that Glitchtrap didn't even walk her forward as she went through the digital gate, but rather took control of her and went through an alternate right path to get to the middle path. But things get more disturbing from here, as from our and Cassie's perspective, the teleportation happens near instantly. But we know better now. There is no teleportation happening. Glitchtrap is hijacking her body as her vision goes white. And since the time it would have taken to cover the distance between point A to point C is more than near instant, we truly have no idea how long the Glitchtrap bodyjacking lasts before Cassie is given back awareness and control of her body again. Steel Wool, the sneaky devs, took away any clocks in Ruin, leaving us with only 2 points in the entire DLC that we are given a point of reference to measure the passing of time. While this leaves us uncertain about the duration of Cassie's possession, Cassie's feelings after these moments are slightly less ambiguous, as our comments about her sudden bout of nausea after going through the first gate could suggest some lingering physical feedback from the brief bodyjacking. Combined with Helpie's comment, it paints an unsettling picture. Speaking of, if you look closely at your screen before you enter it, and during the brief white screen, you'll notice these rows of horizontal black lines. Those are called scan lines. With Google and Reddit, let me explain some technical and scientific stuff to explain their significance. Scan lines are empty spaces between phosphor lines. Phosphor is a substance which emits light when hit with radiation energy such as electrons. This substance is put into tiny light bulbs set in rows on an electronic device screen. When charged by an electronic device, each bulb shines a color of light that together creates the picture or video displayed on your screen. The reason I'm explaining this is that for phosphor lines to display anything on your screen, they must first receive a signal input from the electronic device. This connects back to the security mask, as taking a good look inside the wire mask shows us that the eyes of the mask aren't transparent and are glowing, meaning those are screens, not lenses. This means that unlike what Ruin would have you believe, the security mask is not an AR device, something that uses lenses to allow wearers to view the real world while simultaneously augmenting that view by overlaying it with digital content. No. The security mask is a VR device, something that uses screens to replace a real-life environment with a simulated one created by the system. What system, you may ask? The network. And once again, I would like to remind you of a certain transplant in Cassie's head that receives a signal from the Vanny network, a network in which Glitchtrap occupies. It can manipulate both the transponder signal and the input signal of the security mask. But if Glitchtrap can control Cassie, why doesn't he keep controlling her and turn off all the security nodes himself? We already know he's capable of doing that. Recall last episode's discussion about Glitchtrap and his infectees. He's reluctant to possess another person, and has no reason to do that now when he's right where he wants to be in the P.S.Plex network. Even more, manipulating from the sidelines has been a great strategy for him. But what about simply controlling her through the mask then, if he doesn't want to possess her? The answer to this didn't come from me, as I couldn't come to a satisfying answer for me to settle on, but from a commenter on my Reddit post, so credit and thanks to Contextual Sense. You see, Ruin itself provides the perfect answer and example for why Glitchtrap doesn't just continue to control Cassie, or even why Vanny or any other infectee doesn't just deactivate the nodes. M.X.E.S. In another sequence where Glitchtrap takes control of Cassie, we see Cassie climb into a vent in Bonnie Bowl and slide into a purple vortex. During the end of the purple vortex slide, M.X.E.S shows up. But before Cassie can crash into him, her vision goes white and she appears in Vanny's room. Taking a look around the room shows that there are no vents large enough for Cassie to fit in nor slide through to appear where she's standing, which means this is another case of Glitchtrap taking control of her. However, this time, there's an unmistakable sign of Glitchtrap taking control of her and going through an alternate path, as taking a closer look at the room reveals that one of the two boarded up doors is actually unlocked and openable. That door just so happens to be the door directly behind Cassie when she first regains awareness. We can tell that door can open because the wooden boards don't cover the doorknob, and looking at the messy floor shows a clear moved path for it to open. Where this door goes to is unknown, as we couldn't open it or go through it in Security Breach, and the same thing applies here in Ruin 2. I can only speculate that the door leads to another server room, as each of the digital objects we see during the purple vortex could represent a server, like in the Upper East server room. But regardless if that door leads to a server room or not, M.X.E.S appearance in the vision that Glitchtrap shows Cassie while he controls her body tells us that he can interrupt and or break Glitchtrap's hold over her. And while that may seem like a good thing, you have to remember that warning from Helpie when we first encounter M.X.E.S. M.X.E.S does his job without caring about what kind of damage it can do to those caught in the crossfire, like Cassie, who unknowingly has Glitchtrap watching and manipulating her through a transponder in the mask. With that said, let me be clear, Glitchtrap's hijacking ability remains somewhat ambiguous. Yet, to be blunt, it's not important. What is that thanks to this and Help Wanted, we know for certain that a VR headset and a connection to a network or system that Glitchtrap resides in is required for him to possess or even infect potential victims. On the topic of potential victims, besides Cassie, M.X.E.S, Eclipse, and technically the Mimic, we are introduced to another new character in Ruin, Helpie with an I. As I explained in last episode, the reason Helpie's name is spelled differently here is actually a hint towards his job within the Vanny network, as he is there to help integrate people into the network. But, as you no doubt notice, there seems to be something wrong with him, as multiple times in Ruin, his design changes from blue eyes to orange eyes with purple veins. This change in design also comes with a shift in personality from Helpie, as he goes from a formal, educational way of speaking to a more casual, egotistical way. From being reactive to Cassie's experience going through the ruined P.S.Plex to being proactive in Cassie's venture. Also, thanks to last episode, we know that Glitchtrap is responsible for the change in Helpie, as design changes are marked by his orange eyes, which are a callback to a mimic heritage, and purple veins, which specify Glitchtrap's heritage and influence. Which sparks the question, outside of being infected, which side of the line is Helpie on? Innocent good or malicious evil? The story of Ruin heavily relies on Cassie getting the security mask and the occipital transponder implant, but Helpie doesn't give her the mask, and he certainly doesn't implant her by choice as noted by his design change. And even without being infected, implanting people the transponder, hopefully with consent, is a part of his purpose as intended by Fazbear Entertainment for high-level technicians. So that doesn't necessarily point to Helpie himself being a bad guy, but more like a neutral entity that follows bad rules. And due to Glitchtrap's influence, Helpie now has an alter ego more aligned with his will. So just like Vanessa and Vanny, this alter ego of Helpie needs a new name. And thanks to Minion133 on Reddit, I've taken the name of this infected Helpie, Help Me, which works on a lot of levels. But wait, how do I know Helpie is separate from Glitchtrap if they both come from the network? Why would Glitchtrap even bother infecting something and using personality switches rather than just being himself? If I had to choose one moment in Ruin involving Helpie after first finishing the DLC that stayed in my mind, I would actually compromise and point to two. It's in these two interesting moments that light is shed on Helpie's situation within Ruin. Soon after M.X.E.S is temporarily blocked by Helpie's new and improved signal jammer, something weird happens between Help.Me.S and the Mimics once and only exchange.
What happened to it?
Yeah, with my help, I updated Helpie with a signal jammer. That rabbit thing won't bother me anymore.
There was no reason for the Mimic to clarify that he specifically helped out in getting rid of M.X.E.S, as Help.Me.'s answer was more than enough to satisfy Cassie and even the player's question about what happened. This moment not only reveals that the Mimic always knows what Helpie/Help.Me is saying to Cassie throughout the DLC, but also that Help.Me went rogue here by claiming that he's responsible for the M.X.E.S solution. Time and time again, Help.Me.'s oversized ego likes to make itself known through his choice of words. And it's this inflated sense of importance that separates Help.Me from Glitchtrap as an entirely different entity. Glitchtrap likes to hide in the shadows and observe, while Help.Me likes to make himself known as being the mastermind and refuses to be seen as wrong in his assessments. It's clear that Helpie, in its unaffected state, is designed to be a helpful AI guiding users through the AR world. But Glitchtrap takes advantage of this pre-programming, allowing Helpie to indirectly serve his purposes through his infecting. Yet this helped reveal and cement another aspect of Glitchtrap's personality besides being an unseen observer, in that he prefers to manipulate others into doing his bidding rather than taking direct action to make himself known, a hidden manipulator. If William Afton was the man behind the slaughter, then Glitchtrap is the thing behind the one-way mirror. But what about the second interesting moment? What moment is that? It's Ruin's other ending besides the elevator and the scooper, the Brazil ending. In the Brazil ending, we get a different take on the final scene from the Princess Quest ending. Gregory and Vanessa are still sitting on the hill, enjoying ice cream. But instead of Freddy's head, Helpie is there with 5 balloons floating in the background. Initially, I thought this scene was just a result of Cassie's panic state, showing her what she wanted to see. However, Vanessa's presence raises questions, as she doesn't seem to have any connection to Cassie. So what does the Brazil ending actually mean? Overall, the final cutscene of the Brazil ending shows us the worst possible outcome for Cassie out of all 3 endings. It's not just about the danger of possibly being killed by the Mimic, it's the fact that Cassie willingly re-enters the network, submitting to the control of Glitchtrap, with no intention of ever removing the mask, because the final image of the Brazil ending portrays a dream, an escape from Cassie's dark reality, a world where everyone is safe and content, with Gregory mentioning to Cassie that he found a safe hiding spot with the daycare theme playing cheerfully in the background. However, it's crucial to note that the one speaking to Cassie in this scene is not Gregory, the Mimic, or even Helpie. It's actually Glitchtrap. Don't forget from Help Wanted that Glitchtrap is capable of mimicking a voice, and here he is mimicking Gregory's, as evidenced by the fact that there's a saved data of Gregory's voice within the network to lure Roxy with, and the fact that the Mimic had already discarded his Freddy talkie when he went after Cassie, but more importantly, has shown no ability to talk through the network. Yep, you heard me right. The Gregory voice that comments and advises Cassie on what to do in certain sections of the DLC has a specific reverb and echo effect applied to it.
Find the symbol. Find it. The camera is the way forward.
Something that's not possible for a walkie-talkie to relay with a bad signal.
Is someone there? Are you there?
And while the Mimic doesn't always perfectly copy Gregory's voice when trying to stitch together a new sentence, he never echoed or repeated sentence while speaking it. This means that this echo Gregory is coming from someone else. Someone who can see and comment on what Cassie is doing in real time. Ultimately, in the end, Glitchtrap comforts a panicking Cassie as he welcomes her under his care, where she'll be safe and happy, just like the rest of his victims.
M.X.E.S. It's looking for you. It's looking for you.